Have you ever stopped to think about what it really means to be courageous? Is courage about never feeling afraid? Or is it something much deeper? We are often led to believe that courage is a strength that some people have and others don't. But is that really the case? When we think of courage, we immediately imagine scenes from movies with heroes facing danger and saving the day. But in real life, does courage manifest itself in such a grandiose way? Or does it most often appear in small, almost invisible gestures that many of us don't even notice? Perhaps you remember a time when you hesitated to speak your mind or make an important decision. It may have been at school, at work, or even in a conversation with someone close to you. It happens to all of us. What no one ever tells you is that these moments of doubt, these little silences, are unique opportunities to exercise true courage. Imagine that courage is like a muscle that needs to be trained. Just as we can't lift a huge weight in the gym, without practicing, we can't expect to become courageous overnight. The truth is that courage is often not about heroic acts, but about facing our fears, however small they may seem. That's where everything starts to change. When we understand that courage is a construct, something that develops over time, we realize that it is within our reach. It doesn't matter if your fear is of public speaking, of making a risky decision, or of being yourself in a world that demands masks. Courage, in fact, is the ability to move forward despite fear, and that's where the dilemma arises. Many people believe that being courageous means not feeling afraid. But what if I told you that it's exactly the opposite? Being brave isn't about not being afraid. It's about learning to dance with it. It's about accepting that it exists and carrying on nonetheless. Let's explore together how courage, in fact, is not an absence of fear, but the ability to act even when it is present. And it is at this point that our journey will gain momentum. In this video, I want to show you that being courageous is not a gift reserved for a select few. Courage is a daily choice, and it manifests itself in the small decisions we make. Now that we understand the concept, the next question is, how? Do we exercise this courage in our daily lives? The truth is that many of us spend a good part of our lives trying to avoid discomfort and fear. It's natural. We want to feel safe, comfortable, and protected. But the problem is that the more we avoid fear, the more it grows inside us and the less courageous we become. Because deep down, courage is like a habit. The more we practice it, the stronger it becomes. Think for a moment about the little things you avoid out of fear. It could be something simple like expressing an opinion, or something more complex like following a dream that seems far away. These small choices, when accumulated, shape our lives. And the great truth is that it takes courage to break this cycle and get out of your comfort zone. Courage is often silent. It's present when you decide to face that difficult conversation you've been avoiding, or when you choose to put yourself in situations that challenge you, even though you know there is a risk of failure. Courage is about taking that first step, even if you don't yet know what the next one will be. And that's when things start to change. Sometimes we're so focused on the big fears that we forget that courage starts with the small actions. It's like planting a seed. Each small act of courage is a planting, and over time these actions grow into strong trees that sustain our lives. But it's important to understand that, in this process, you will make mistakes. You will fail a few times, and that's okay. True courage is not about getting it right every time, but about continuing to try, even when things don't go as planned. In fact, that's where courage grows stronger, because it's in mistakes and failures that we find the opportunity to grow. Here, I want you to visualize your life as a journey, a long road full of bends and challenges, and every bend is a chance to be brave, to choose the path that seems more challenging, but will take you further. Courage then becomes the fuel that propels you on this journey. Many of us wait for that perfect moment, that sign that we're ready. But the big turning point is understanding that courage never arrives ready-made. It is built in movement. And that's when we realize that being courageous is actually about learning to move forward, even when fear is still present. Courage is, after all, a commitment to yourself. It's about choosing, every day, to face the situations that scare you and, however imperfectly, committing to moving forward. When we do, this we discover that courage transforms us, changing not only the way we act, but also the way we see ourselves. Let's think for a moment. What if courage were simpler than you think? What if it didn't lie in big acts, but in the small decisions we make every day? Deciding to be authentic, even if it means going against expectations. Choosing to try, even if the fear of failure is present. That's being brave. Now, I want you to see this journey as a cycle. At first, courage seems small, but with every step you take, it grows. Every time you face a fear, no matter how small, you are expanding your capacity to be courageous, and this is exactly what leads you to a fuller, more authentic life. Now that you understand that courage is built little by little, let's explore how you can start applying it in your life today. It may seem complicated at first, but the key is to take small steps. It's not about revolutionizing everything at once, but starting with something simple that you can do right now and that already takes you out of your comfort zone. Remember, the goal is not to eliminate fear. That's a mistake many of us make. Courage is the ability to act despite fear, to do something even when you don't feel ready. Think of it as training. In the same way that you start at the gym with light weights and gradually increase the load, you can also train your courage. Start with small actions. Say what you really think in a conversation. Defend your opinion. Try something new, even if you feel a chill in your stomach. It's these small moments that will prepare you for bigger challenges. When you decide that every day you're going to choose the most challenging path, however small, you start to create a positive cycle. Little by little, you realize that what once seemed daunting now becomes natural. And that's when the real transformation happens. But it's important to remember that there will be obstacles along the way. Sometimes you will hesitate. At other times, you'll feel like you can't move forward, and that's okay, it's part of the process. The important thing is not to give up, because courage is like a flame that needs to be fed continuously. It grows when you exercise it, but it can diminish when you ignore it. So for this transformation to really happen, it's essential that you commit to small daily actions, that you challenge yourself every day to do something that causes you that initial discomfort, but which deep down, you know will make you stronger. And little by little, you'll see how courage becomes a natural part of who you are. The big question is, are you willing to take these small steps even when fear creeps in? If the answer is yes, you're on the right track. Because true courage is not about big acts, but about consistent and continuous choices. Now that we understand the importance of small steps and daily commitment, let's move on to practical application. What will your next step be? Think of something you've been avoiding out of fear, something you know you need to face but always put off. It could be something simple, like having a difficult conversation or starting that project that's always being put on the back burner. Look at this moment as an opportunity to train your courage. Take a step towards it. You don't need to be completely ready, you just need to start. Remember, being courageous is often just deciding to act, even if fear is still present. The key is to realize that courage, at its heart, is an act of self-love. When you decide to face your fears and step out of your comfort zone, you are choosing to grow. You are choosing to become stronger and live a more authentic life. And that's exactly what you deserve. So at the end of this video, I invite you to reflect. What small act of courage can you do today? It could be something simple, but that represents a step out of the ordinary, that challenges you and at the same time brings you closer to who you really want to be. Remember, courage is an ongoing process. Don't beat yourself up for not being perfect or for feeling afraid. We all do. What makes the difference is how you deal with it and how you decide to act anyway. And it's that choice that makes you brave. Life is too short to always live in safety. The most meaningful moments come precisely when we choose the most challenging path, when we decide to go ahead, even without guarantees, trusting that the simple act of trying is in itself an act of courage. At the end of the day, being brave isn't about never failing or never feeling afraid. It's about choosing to act, even when everything around you seems uncertain. And it's on this journey that you transform and discover yourself, one step at a time. I hope that by the end of this video, you will feel inspired to make that move, to take that first step. The courage is in you, and all you need is to commit to practicing it every day. Now I invite you to subscribe to the channel, leave a comment about a courageous moment you've experienced, and share your stories with us. Let's build this journey together.